Hi everyone, sorry about missing the Google Meet. So here's just kind of walking through the problem that we were gonna do in the Google Meet here. So this is question 2, part B, or part B. We've got a table here. Number of passengers who boarded a ship is modeled against the number of hours, and we have a couple questions. So in part A, according to the model, what is the average rate at which the passengers board the ship in passengers per hour over 1 to 8? So I'm seeing average rate of change. So we're going to say AROC equals, and that would be, you'd be doing basically P of 8 minus P of 1 over 8 minus 1. In this case, that is 728 minus 35 over 7, and that's where we should leave the answer. Don't risk a math mistake. If you do the math, you get 693 over 7, which is 99. All right, part B. Write p prime of 4.5 as the limit of a difference quotient. All right, we saw this in one of our previous videos, and in this case, p prime of 4.5, we're looking for derivative at a point. And when it says limit of a difference quotient, we're actually looking for like the exact, not evaluated, but the limit definition of derivative at a point. So we could use the one that's the alternative form, or we could use the one that is involving delta x approaching 0. Here, so you could do either one. So I would say let's do limit as delta x approaches 0 of, so we have p of 4.5 plus delta x minus p of 4.5 all over delta x. That's all you need for the first part of that problem. Then the second part says approximate it using the data in the table. All right, well, if I use the data in the table, I don't have 4.5, so I would need to surround it basically and get as close as I can. So 3 and 6 are equally on either side of 4.5, so those would be good values to use. So we're going to use an average rate of change there. So we would have 600 minus 204 over 6 minus 3. Again, that's a good place to leave that answer. They would accept that. We could also do 396 over 3, which is 132. All right, another option for the first part of this would be using the alternative form, which looks like this. Limit as x approaches 4.5 of p of x minus p of 4.5 over x minus 4.5. That's your alternate answer to the first part with the p of 4.5 plus delta x. Part C, we are going to use, so let's see, must there be a time for 3 to 6, which p of t equals 500. Hopefully that's starting to jump out at you as, sounds like intermediate value theorem. I want to know, am I guaranteed a y value of 500? So I'm going to go p of 3, and according to the table, that is 204. P of 6, according to the table, is 600. So we do have 500 surrounded. Does it talk about continuous? It doesn't mention the word continuous, but it mentions the word differentiable. And if we know if a function is differentiable, that implies it's also continuous. Okay, and so P is continuous. And so we would say since, and you have, like, again, you can't just say yes. We have to justify it. We have to communicate that we know what we're talking about here. So since we could say 204 is less than 500 is less than 600, then there must be a t in 3 less than t less than 6 where p of t equals 500 by intermediate value theorem. Okay, so you've got to mention intermediate value theorem, you've got to mention continuous, and then you've got to check the endpoints. Finally, in part D, total number of gallons of water used by the passengers on the ship is modeled by G, and find G prime of 4. So this looks like just finding a derivative. Like they gave us the function G, and they want us to find G prime of 4, so they're testing our derivative use. So you've got a couple ways to do this, but I see product rule here. 120t times square root of t. So G prime of t would equal derivative of the first, 120, times the second, root t, plus derivative the first, 120t, times derivative of square root, so that's x to the 1, or t to the 1/2, so b times 1/2 t to the negative 1/2. And no chain rule, so we're good there. So then G prime of 4 would be 120 root 4 plus 120 times 4 times 1/2. And on the bottom of that 1/2 is square root of 4. Once again, you could leave it right there. Like it's the really awesome part about this. You don't have to simplify that. But if you wanted to, I mean, I really wouldn't recommend it because you could, especially on a no calculator part, you could make a mistake. But this is 120 times 2, which is 240. This is 60. Or actually, the 4s are going to cancel, right? The 4 and this is 4 on the bottom, so those would cancel. So we got 1 plus 120, so 360. And it says find in gallons per hour. This one mentions a unit, so we want to say gallons per hour. Okay, hopefully that helped. Make sure you get that submitted, and thanks for watching.